Hey, what's up guys? You just bought the iPhone 17 Pro Max, which can shoot a stunning photos and videos with the triple 48 megapixel camera. It's so good even the professionals are using it. So in this video, I will be showcasing you different settings and tips and tricks so you can also take pro level shoots in minutes. So let's get started. The first thing which you need to do is to open up your settings, then scroll down and open camera. The first picture setting that you will see is the photographic styles, but it's always recommended to keep it to the standard so that you can edit it yourself if needed. Then below that is the record video format. Inside here, you want the best quality and file size. Then 4K at 60 FPS is enough. But if you want the cinematic vibes, then always stick to the 4K at 24 per second. Because if you do that, then your videos will look like holiday movie. Now let's go down and you will get a bunch of toggles from there. You will need to turn on the enhanced stabilization. The action mode lower light is better left turned off if you don't plan on recording in low light. Then you have the HDR video, and this is an absolute game changer, so definitely turn it on. Next we have the auto FPS, and similarly if you are not crazy about the low light videos, so just turn it off. Lock camera should also be enabled so that you can switch the cameras when needed by yourself. The lock white balance can be kept turned off. Now let's go back, go to the record slow-mo. And from here, either choose 240 FPS for the best slow-mo quality, and if you want the prioritized resolution, then select 4K at 120 FPS. Now record cinematic here just like before, select 4K at 24 frames per second, which is what cinema will use. Now we have the record sound option here. Either choose the special sound if you want to capture ambient sound, for example nature videos, but if you want to focus on speech, then mono is what you will need. Moving on, you have to allow the audio playback feature, which totally depends on your use case. After that, we have one of the most important option, which is the formats. Here, if you want to preserve space and also want more option to edit your photos after you take the shoot, then stick to high efficiency. But if you want to prioritize sharing it with some other operating system, in that case you can switch to most compatible, but high efficiency is always recommended. On photo mode, it's a no barrier that you select 24 megapixel. Right below that, you will have a ProRes resolution control, which you should definitely turn on. This will unlock your camera full potential by allowing you to switch to 48 megapixel. Then you can further change the ProRes format, and here what you should choose is JPEG-XL lossy. And inside here you may be tempted to use the lossless format, but this takes up a lot more storage without having any significant difference in picture quality. So JPEG-XL lossy is going to be your first choice. Now at the bottom we can enable the Apple ProRes video capture format. This will allow you to use HDR ProRes encoding or even the log. So if you are best at the color grading, log is the option that you are looking for. But for any other regular user, HDR is more than enough. Right below formats, we have the preserve setting option. Let's open it up. And the setting you definitely want to enable is creative control, exposure adjustment, night mode, pro resolution control, and Apple ProRes. What this will do is prevent your camera to revert the changes that we will make in this video. Now what you want to keep turned off this live photo toggle, because this generates low quality photos and keep up more space. The other option which are left should be revert back to default. Now below the reserve settings, you have the volume up for burst option, and enabling this will disable the default functionality, which is volume up for record videos. You also have the QR code and text detection option, which is handy, so you can just keep them turned on. Next up, we have the composition guidance, grid lines and levels. This will help you line up your shots, so definitely give them a try. The third option is mirror front camera. You should just keep it disabled and get used to it. If you keep it enabled, this will flip everything, so just disable this option and get used to it. Then we have the view outside the frame. This will show you what's around the main frame, and it's totally a matter of personal preference, whatever you want to keep it on or off. Then we have indicators. If you enable these, you will be able to easily toggle this on or off inside the camera app. Now we will move towards the photo capture. Here, make sure both these lenses are enabled and your default lens should be 24 mm or one-time zoom. Below these, we have ProRes in photo mode, which is a yes. Prioritize faster shooting is always no, because this will degrade your image quality, which we absolutely don't want. Lens correction can reduce wrapping or distortion in wide angle. So enable the micro control. This should always be disabled unless you want to take a macro photos. Then we have a new feature called lens cleaning hints, which you can just leave this on. And lastly, you can choose if you want to save photos taken in other apps to your library. Now that we are done with the camera settings, let's open up the camera app itself. And in the photo app, you can change the resolution to 48 megapixel and then formats to either HIC or RAW. For regular use case, HIC is enough. We can also enable the exposure value shortcuts. You can tap on it, bring down the exposure for more natural lighting, and this will be persistent. So you won't have to use the sundial anymore and it won't reset. We also have the flash and live mode toggle, both of which should be kept turned off. Now, if you click on these more dots here, you also get the exposure option. But what's important is the aspect ratio, and you should always keep it to 4:3 as it gives you the most photo information. And talking about the zoom, you can tap on the one-time zoom to switch between your three lenses. And then you also have the digital 2x, 4x, and 8x zoom. And for the best photo quality, you should stick to all these presets and avoid using any zoom levels between them. For the front camera, there is also a center stage feature which you can enable by tapping on the top and then turning auto zoom and auto rotate on. Or you can also keep it turned off and manually switch it by pressing on this icon. And you should note that when you use the wide angle or the landscape mode, the photo is saved in 18 megapixel. But if you use the portrait mode, it will only use the 7 megapixel. So you can just stick to the wide angle and crop your photos if you need afterwards. Now let's move on towards the videos, and here we will be using the Apple ProRes. You can switch to HDR and log format, and just like before for normal shooting, HDR is more than enough, or you can also keep it turned off to preserve storage. And on the top right, you also have the action mode toggle and the brand new dual capture feature, which enable you to capture both your front camera and the main camera at the same time. And then we have the night mode. These settings will only pop up when there is a low light, and you can either toggle it from the top or open the more option and enable the night mode max from here, which will give you up to 30 seconds of night mode capture in an extreme low light. Now in the iOS 26, to move to the other photo modes, you can either swipe left or right on the screen or use the bottom bar. So guys, that is it in this particular video. These are some of the settings, tips and tricks which you can use in order to get the maximum quality of your photos and videos. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Peace.